You know how when you are caught in a sudden, like a really violent downpour, your very first instinct is to just grab onto literally whatever structure is closest.
Oh, yeah, totally. You definitely aren't checking the engineering of the awning you duck under, right? You just desperately want out of the rain.
Exactly. But what if the thing you grab onto for safety is, well, actually more fragile than you are? So, welcome to this custom deep dive. Today, we are exploring a single ancient source. It is Psalm 62 from the English Standard Version of the Bible.
Right, which is a Psalm of David, and it is addressed to the choir master, according to Jeduthun, who is actually one of David's chief musicians.
Yeah, and our mission for you today is to really extract this text's blueprint for finding unshakable stability when you are just surrounded by chaos and deceit. Okay, let's unpack this, because right away the text hits us with this striking contrast between inner silence and, intense outer turmoil.
Yeah, the author repeatedly declares that God alone is a rock, a salvation, and a fortress. There is this absolute solid permanence.
Which is heavily contrasted with the human attackers in the text, right?
Exactly. They are actively trying to batter a man down. The author actually describes the victim as a leaning wall, a tottering fence.
And these attackers aren't just physically battering him. I mean, they are planning to thrust him down from his high position. They take pleasure in falsehood.
Yeah, the text says they bless with their mouths, but inwardly they curse.
Right, and that leaning wall feeling, that is basically the ancient equivalent of modern burnout. You are barely holding it together, and you have to navigate these two-faced people who smile to your face but secretly want you to fail.
What's fascinating here is how the text tells us to respond to that specific kind of chaos. It presents a bit of a paradox, actually.
Oh, that's so.
Well, in verses 1 and 5, the primary antidote is stillness. It says the soul should wait for God in silence. But then, just a few lines later in verse 8, it explicitly instructs the people to pour out your heart before him because God is a refuge.
Wait, hold on. How can I be totally silent but also pour my heart out? Like, those are literal opposites. Are we supposed to be stoic and quiet or, highly emotional?
I know, it seems totally contradictory until you look at the mechanism of what is actually happening. The silence it is talking about isn't an absence of emotion.
Okay.
It is the cessation of self-defense. When someone attacks your reputation, your instinct is to yell back, to defend yourself, to scramble for control.
Oh, yeah.
The text is saying, stop. Be silent in your own defense. Once you drop the armor and stop trying to control the narrative, then you are actually vulnerable enough to pour out your heart to a true refuge.
Ah, that makes so much sense. And when you finally get quiet and stop trying to defend your own reputation, you realize that the things your attackers are using to measure success, status and wealth, they're completely empty.
Which leads perfectly into how the text views human hierarchy. The text states that people of low estate are merely a breath, and those of high estate are a delusion.
A delusion.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, if you weigh them together in the balances, they go up. They are together lighter than a breath. It also warns against trusting in extortion or robbery, adding that if riches increase, you should set not your heart on them.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Calling high status a complete delusion. I mean, we place so much psychological weight on things like social media clout or a fancy job title.
Oh, absolutely. We obsess over it.
Right, but the author uses the imagery of a scale to show us that human obsession with hierarchy is a man-made fiction. We think it is heavy, but the text reveals it is literally lighter than air.
Exactly, because societal hierarchy offers zero actual protection in a crisis. Building your security on status or wealth is like buying a safe made out of cardboard.
Yeah, it looks good, but it does nothing.
Right, it looks heady, it looks secure, but the moment a real storm hits, it just disintegrates. If we connect this to the bigger picture, the reason for this weightlessness becomes clear in verses 11 and 12.
What do those say?
The author says, once God has spoken, twice have I heard this, that power belongs to God, and that to you, O Lord, belongs steadfast love.
Meaning true power and steadfast love belong entirely. The text forcibly shifts our focus away from accumulating earthly wealth as a means of protection.
Precisely.
So what does this all mean? It makes you rethink your own safety nets.
Mm.
When things go wrong, whether it is a stressful job or dealing with fake friends, are we grabbing onto a title, a bank account, or a social status that is secretly just a tottering fence?
I mean, that is the big quest.
Exactly. This text really challenges where we place our ultimate trust.
And that leads to a crucial final point. The text ends by stating that God will render to a man according to his work. If human status and earthly riches are just a passing breath, lighter than air on a scale, how does embracing that fragility completely redefine what meaningful, lasting work actually looks like for you today?